Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Fitzgerald Hyundai in Clearwater, Florida, and look what we have once again, fresh off the truck, the updated, changed up 2021 Hyundai Santa Fe. This particular one is that entry-level trim known as the SE. But before we get into that original OG SUV from Hyundai, let's talk about what's going on here. The auto industry is ever changing. SUVs obviously are that flavor of the month, and manufacturers are trying so many different ways to get to every single segment of the population with a particular SUV. Now, this being the original, has been around. The Santa Fe has been around since the year 2000, Y2K. Now, since then, Hyundai has added some new SUVs, the Tucson, the Kona, the Venue, and of course, the almighty top-selling Palisade. What Hyundai wants to do with the Santa Fe is fit that mid-size SUV segment of the population, and they want to try to bring in value. And as we like to do here on Rady's Rides, I like to try to bring all the different trim levels to really showcase what you're getting. And this being the base trim is going to really show you what you're going to get for your hard-earned money. Now, what's interesting is that there's even an SUV that many people have kind of forgotten about that Hyundai has gotten rid of, the Veracruz. So a lot of interesting things are riding on this refresh. Will the Santa Fe be sticking around for the next generation, or is the Palisade going to just keep taking all the excitement? So let's go ahead, let's dive into our SE trim and see really, is this the best value budget price, but yet bringing tons and tons of amenities and style for your mid-size SUV hard-earned dollars? Let's go ahead and find out. So like I said, 2021, we have a refresh, we have a change up. Starting at the front end of the business, you're still gonna have on the Santa Fe that split headlight design. You have your LED daytime running lamp, which is gonna trickle and waterfall into that lower section that actually houses our standard LED headlights. I do like the LED daytime running lamps, gives it a really unique look from the front. You are gonna have your side air curtains, fully functional, nothing fake, nothing gloss black. I think on this SE trim, ours being this metallic silver, the way that the silver of the lower portion here looks clean, even down below, this may not have any kind of clear over it, but this flat really blends in nicely and a little bit of flat black on the corner. Now, as we come across the changed up center grille, this is a big talking point. Depending on what trim you go with, this grille is gonna look a little different. We brought to you the SEL trim, which I will leave that link at the end of this video if you haven't seen this one, but on the SE, flat black, fully functional. I'm actually digging the design of the grille, the way they have all those intricate elements. You work your way down, more flat black, and then of course, you have that simulated skid plate design that they put on a lot of SUVs to make them look a little bit more rugged. But you could see clearly that this is a unique design change up for the Santa Fe. Going up onto the hood, you have a nice rise up the center, and then each half is going to curve towards its corresponding A-pillar. From the hood design, very clean. This, it's one of those things that I think some people are going to love it and other people are just going to be scratching their heads saying, hey, it looks like a catfish or something. But let's go around the bend and see what else we're going to find on this SE trim. Now, you'll notice that flat black I pointed out, they bring it around the fender treatment, nothing too high, so it's not gonna be too much of a differentiator on the side. I do like the nice hard body line that they put. And then when it comes to wheel and tire setup, you're gonna get these 18-inch wheels, machined aluminum with the metallic gray. Remember, you go up the food chain, when it comes to trim levels, you're gonna get different style wheels, larger style wheels, 235 on the width and a meaty 60 series sidewall. Going down the side of the rest of our Santa Fe, you're gonna get color match mirror caps. And remember, this is an SE trim, entry level, you're getting color match. We have some nice bright metal work, both top and bottom, nothing too gaudy. Color matched on the door handles, and I think it was simple just to keep it flat black along the bottom. Now, if you're saying, well, Joe, what does this vehicle compete with? Remember, we're talking about the CX-5, the Mazda CX-5, the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4. That's gonna be the main competition going up against this guy here. Now, we keep working our way back, no roof rails, and I kind of like that. It really just cleans up the look of that flat roof on the Santa Fe. We keep working our way back. You can see that nice strong belt line runs perfectly into the taillights, which have been refreshed for 2021. And then you're gonna have your flat roof spoiler. The one zonk, and it doesn't even matter what trim you're talking about, this does not light up this center section. So that's a little bit of a bummer. That's definitely a zonk, but I do like the design of the taillights. Rear wiper, I could do without, but this is an SE trim, so I'm trying to keep it apples to apples, oranges to oranges, Twinkies to Twinkies. Now, as we drop down, you're gonna get flat black. My other zonk is the turn signals are down low below in this area. With LED technology, you definitely could get it integrated into that taillight housing. So I am gonna zonk that, plus it's a little dangerous, I think. Lower section, you're gonna get a finished off exhaust pipe that's a nice rectangle shape. Normally I don't like these, but the way that it's slash cut integrates very nicely. And remember, this is a base trim, so it's nice that they didn't just give you no pipe or something that just looks disgusting. And then as we work our way over, you can see the tasteful Santa Fe badge. They're keeping that little sunrise there because this really was the sunrise for Hyundai with their SUVs. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our SE base trim. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hydraulic hood struts. You can see underneath the hood is gonna be one of actually 4 different engine options. So if this one isn't floating your boat or floating your Santa Fe, you can get a different choice. What are you looking at? We're looking at a new updated 2.5 liter inline 4 naturally aspirated engine. That replaces the 2.4 from last year. You're looking at 6 more horsepower. So 191 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to, thank you Hyundai, an 8-speed automatic transmission. So no CVTs on this vehicle. And like I said, you do have an option for a turbocharged engine, a hybrid that is coming, and a plug-in electric hybrid. You have 8.2 inches of ground clearance, and you could tow up to 2,000 pounds with this front-wheel drive base vehicle, which obviously you can also option all-wheel drive. One thing I do like from an engineering standpoint is how low the engine sits in the chassis. That's going to help with lowering that center of gravity and handling. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what big things are in store for your hard-earned money. All right, guys, we're inside the 2021 Santa Fe SE trim. It's at that point where I know that you're asking yourself, you're saying, well, Joe, I need a little bit larger SUV. My family's growing. I want a little bit of extra space while I'm driving to and from work. I like the way that this gets 25 miles to the gallon in the city and 20 on the highway. How much is the new Santa Fe? Because I'm digging the style. I don't care what other people say. I like it. MSRP for the SE trim is right at $28,500. Let's see what you get for your hard-earned money because you've been busting your butt. To the door panels, I like up top, all soft touch material. And then I'm really digging this silver trim that they have. It's got almost, I don't want to call it carbon fiber because that's not what it's trying to look like, but it just looks different, fresh, and I'm digging it. The armrest, nice soft material. I like the stitch work going on. Even the way they did the speaker grill cover, it shows that they thought about it. They didn't just slap something together. The door pocket is a little tight. You may only be able to fit about 5 churros from 7-Eleven in there and a bottle of Yoo-Hoo to wash down all that cinnamon and sugar and all that other goodness. Now, as we get to the dash, you have that bi-level split setup. So they take that finish from the door panel I was telling you about and they wrap it all the way around. It's classy, it looks good. Soft touch, the stitch work. You have a nice tray here. Yeah, you could put a phone, but you know what would be better? You could fit 4, actually almost 6 Twinkies in this area. And then as we get to the infotainment system side of things, you have an 8-inch, they call this the floating infotainment system. Most people would call it an iPad style, but in the industry, they call this the floating style. 8-inch, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Is it a touchscreen? Of course it is. You can swipe very easily. You got that quiet mode, which is great for when you have kids. That'll help, especially on those longer trips. Let me go ahead and throw it into reverse. There's your backup camera. You do have trajectory, which is nice. And I like the way it almost fills up the whole screen. And then guess what? If this isn't big enough for you, if you're not happy with 8 inches, because there are some people that are just not happy. You give them 8 inches and it does not put a smile on their face, you could get a 10.25-inch screen. And we'll be showing you that on that SEL trim. I'll leave the link at the end of the video. Silver finish around the AC vents, and I like the style. There's that design element I was telling you about. They carried it all the way through with the silver. You have your standard AC controls. They work. You do have a key ignition, so if you want to live like we used to, where all the vehicles came with a key ignition, you could have that on your new Santa Fe here. Flip it around. You do have the lock, unlock, and you could play a magical horn. That's the magical flute button. Start it back up. That's how we used to do it. You don't just push a button, you turn and then release. You have your push button transmission. That's going to control that 8-speed automatic, like the silver, cleans up the whole center console. You have your drive mode selector knob, which I am going to zon, because you see this? Yes, I know this is an SE trim, but it does it also on the higher trims too. That to me is a fit and finish issue. I would like it to be maybe metal, since you're going to be touching this a little bit more often, and it should not shake like that. That just, look at that. I don't like that. But as you flow through, we open up door number 1. I'm glad that they have a lid there. You have a USB, a cup holder, second cup holder, and a crunch bar holder. So you could actually fit 3 crunch bars right here and just crunch away as you're on your trip. And guess what? That closes nicely. And look how clean it looks. Magical button, hit that. We have a removable peanut tray, honey roasted, of course. You could have this go with you. You take it to your desk while you're at work. And then we have plenty of space in here where you could probably fit, about 7 hot dogs from 7-Eleven in there with extra mustard and some relish on top. And you probably keep it warmer. Seal it up and probably keep those hot dogs nice and warm. And then the seats, they're cloth, but they're beautiful. I like the texture material. The bolstering is nice. The design looks great. Manual for obviously the passenger and the driver. This is an SE trim, and I got plenty of headroom in here. Nice light headliner color, which is wonderful. But why don't you come over? Wait, almost forgot. Look what we have here. You got your little bridge system, so you could put a purse, a merce, a sack, a satchel, a box, a bag. You can put a Rubik's Cube here. So lots of space, and you got a 12-volt and a USB. They got you covered in this SE trim. Coming over to the business end, I want to show you behind the wheel of this 2021 Santa Fe. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have your manual seat controls. The good news is they're very easy to use, easy to get to, and you could get it to set up to your body type. Very, very 1, 2, 3, and just be done with it. Steering wheel, good thickness. Now on an SE trim, you are going to get that Rubbermaid style, but we need to keep it apples to apples. Remember, this is a $28,500 SUV, and it's a midsize SUV, so you are getting a lot for the money. The silver trim is nice, flat black on the buttons. You do have paddles. They're small, they're silver behind the steering wheel to go up and down that 8-speed automatic. And then the dash, it's straightforward, to the point, analog tach, speedometer, coolant gauge, fuel gauge, and then that small digital display, which you could toggle through a cornucopia of different information. Plus, you're going to get all the safety features from Hyundai, which is wonderful in this vehicle. But why don't we get to that back seat area and see how your passengers are going to enjoy being in the Santa Fe. All right, guys, we're in the back seat of the 2021 Santa Fe. And what's wonderful is, of course, same amount of room. It's even more so back here. Plenty of headroom. You can see just where my knees are located. You have your AC vents and you have 2 USBs. Remember, we've been here on Rady's Rise where SUVs have cost $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 and they do not have USBs in the back. You do have one pocket, which is nice, and you have the plastic, which I know if you're a parent, these are easy to keep clean, especially when your kids are picking their nose or putting their earwax or maybe even toe jam. You know, they take their shoes off and they're just putting it on the seat. You could wipe it off very easily. And you have a pocket here where maybe you could keep a couple books on personal hygiene for them. I know as a previous teacher for 18 years, I really felt like some of my students were lacking personal hygiene, especially when they would come close to me. I'd say personal distance. I got a bubble around me, keep back. But sitting back here, I feel like I got plenty of space. I don't need any extra personal space. What's even better is, guess what? You even have an armrest. It's nice, it feels good. 2 cup holders. Let's get to that cargo area because I want to take the Santa Fe for a little spin. All right, guys, cargo area time. You hit the button, no electric assist or anything, but it lifts up nicely. You have a super size, large opening, nice flat floor, which is going to be great as well. And then, of course, the seats you can fold down. Now, the way it's going to work is to get those seats to fold down, you do have to go and actually come around to the passenger side and fold the seat down. So I'll go ahead and do that on both sides so you could see just how much room we have when folding the seats down. And the great news is, let me get this out of the way for you. The great news is it's nice and flat, which is wonderful. So when you're going to Costco, when you're getting your stuff, you'll be able to just really just load this up with big barrels of mayonnaise, ketchup, maybe some ranch dressing, and some onion dip, some French onion dip. And then on the top, you put the big bags of Ruffles. And then you can just have a party inside your Santa Fe. But great news is nice and flat. You do have a 12 volt. So that's good if you're going to the beach, if you're doing some tailgating and you have something that you need to plug in the back. And then when you lift this up, you have a little bit of cargo storage, which is great, especially if you're on a trip with the family. Hide some snacks in there. You may need to hide them either for the kids or for yourself. You may, just be so stretched out that you're like, I need a Twinkie right about now. They got you covered underneath there. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the best part of any Rady's Rides review, even the Santa Fe. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take it for a spin. All right, guys, we're in the 2021 Santa Fe SE trim. Right away, seats are comfortable. I like the changes that they made to the center console, especially with that bridge system, storage underneath. I think when it comes to value, it's hard to find an SUV, a mid-size SUV that brings this much at this price point. $28,500 for a mid-size, where you're getting USBs in the back seat, rear AC, reclining seats, all that great cargo capacity, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It just shows that Hyundai is serious and they want to bring the best. Now remember, we have those different drive modes, even the SE trim: Comfort, Smart, and Sport. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in Sport. That's going to adjust how the engine and the transmission behave. Trying to keep the zonks in check. Yeah, it'd be nice to have some type of leatherette on the steering wheel. It still feels good, the size, having tilt and a telescoping steering wheel, and tons of storage in this vehicle. All right, guys, pulling away from the light, having 192 horsepower may not seem like a lot, but I think for most people that aren't in a rush to get anywhere, this will be plenty of power. But the great news is more is coming. So definitely stay tuned, because I can't wait to get my hands on that turbocharged power plant in the Santa Fe Limited. But going down the road, super smooth. They did a little bit of tweaking of the suspension when it comes to compression and rebound, and I could feel that even driving down the highway here. I'm gonna be quiet for a second. Really, when it comes to road noise, you're not hearing much, which is great. And having that 8-speed automatic, it shifts smooth, and you got plenty of gears there to keep the revs down to help out with those MPGs. Remember, we're talking about 25 in the city, 28 on the highway in a mid-size SUV. Visibility's great. It feels really, really comfortable. Making a right-hand turn here. Front-wheel drive, remember. Let me slow down a little bit, and then we're gonna go on throttle here in a second. So, slow roll, on throttle. So you can hear the transmission drop down. If you notice, it's holding those revs because I'm in Sport. I'm gonna switch into Comfort, and then it changes the personality of how the SUV, how this Santa Fe is behaving. And then on top of that, you do have the ability to manually shift as well. Getting to the infotainment system is a short reach, all touchscreen, of course. It really rides nice. It really does. For somebody who does not need a 3-row SUV like the Palisade, but yet doesn't want to go into a compact like the Tucson, the Santa Fe just really brings it. And that's what's interesting, is that this is a midsize. And I've been talking a lot about the CX-5. I've been talking a lot about the CR-V and the RAV4, and those are compact. It's just interesting because this, at the price point, competes against those, but yet you're getting more room, which is wonderful. And you're getting I think, even more connectivity. Plus you have the safety features, the lane keep assist, all that great stuff that's gonna keep you safe and make sure that you arrive alive every time. Even over that big bump that I just went over, very, very solid, nothing's squeaking, nothing's rattling. So hopefully this has been a great overall view of what the SE brings. We've done the SEL. There will be more to come. I promise you that with the Santa Fe, because we love to bring the different trims. I think it's so important. Not everybody can afford the top trim or wants to spend that kind of money, and that's okay. Let's see what else you get for your options and for the money. But we're gonna get back to Fitzgerald Hyundai and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at Fitzgerald Hyundai. I definitely gotta thank Rob, Dave, and the rest of the crew getting us access to this SE trim 2021 Santa Fe. You know us here on Rady's Rise, we like to bring you all the different trims. We're gonna be bringing you the Top Dog Limited, but it's nice to see what your hard-earned money gets you when you look at that entry level. And definitely, if you want that little extra size, you want that 21st century styling, and you want to have that value, I think this Santa Fe checks off so many boxes. You gotta compare it to the competition to really appreciate it. But if you wanna keep seeing SUVs like these on Rady's Rise, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. It's right here on my hand. Hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, you know how we do it here. Thank you so much for your support and dedication. If you want to keep helping us bring you this content each and every day, click that link in that description. Get yourself some Rady's Rise merch. You got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She's going to be winning all the awards for her videography this year from YouTube. Show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.